They're both excellent runners. And we are off, ladies and gentlemen. Let us begin. Dyceron getting a tiny bit of an edge start here, using courtesy of better Morph Ball rolling speed. Ooh, Dyceron getting a tiny bit knocked around by that Worker Splinter, but still keeping his early Hive lead nice and smooth. As before, the winner of this race will go on to face Kirby Master in the next round of the losers bracket. And that race will determine who faces the winner of the upcoming race of Gollop versus Op 82. Alright, so looks like Dyceron is our first runner out to the industrial site. He is attempting the industrial site skip slope jump. Belattor following suit by slope jumping onto the crates and then jumping onto the cargo container and then riding along within the cutscene, puts you right in front of the door. Didn't get any looks at Temple Assembly site yet. Doesn't look like Dyceron's even interested in thinking about Task Jump, at least not yet. And looks like Belattor is not following suit with Dyceron. Unfortunately, I don't have the best view on my restream, so I cannot tell what is in Temple Assembly site, but you folks in chat are saying just a missile. I'm going to run with that for now. They might get it on the way out if they get something useful. Missile or light tank. Well, either way, it's not too particularly important for our runners. They certainly know how to get around with as little as possible. Belattor, I think, wanted to take a look and see if there was any glow coming out of the communications area item to see if it might so have to be something like a red key or maybe main power bombs or light beam. Not the case, it would seem. Our item in the GFMC crate is just our standard missile launcher, so no early seekers this time around. But he will dupe the launcher to get an extra 5 missiles. This will make the Dark Alpha Splinter fight a little bit considerably easier coming up into the main temple, or the Great Temple, excuse me. Belattor also trying the dupe jump. Having a little bit more trouble. This isn't a very easy slope jump, and it's very finicky. Gets it nonetheless, so he will also have 10 missiles going into the Dark Alpha Splinter fight. Gonna get a quick peek now at Transport A access, seeing what is locked by either bombs, boost ball, super missiles, power bombs, or for some reason Screw Attack. Although then again, Screw Attack pretty much breaks everything. And it is a Sky Temple key, one of the 9 we will need to finish the game. Nice. So Dyceron electing to use missiles to rapidly take out the splinters, and might be... Oh, did not look like he got a 10 missile drop from that last splinter, so very unfortunate. Usually, if you're out of missiles, the game has a fairly high chance of dropping you a 10 missile drop, but did not quite happen this time. So it's going to be a charge beam only for this fight. It might have also partially had something to do with the fact that DCR took a little bit of damage and that the game might have favored giving him a tiny extra bit more health over missiles, but at this point, I'm just going to chalk it up to Revenge of the Prime 1 drop system. And Belattor at least got a 5 missile drop, DCR deciding to get up close and personal as he takes out the Dark Alpha Splinter for the Violet Translator. Belattor, meanwhile, does have a full salvo of 10 missiles to deal with the Dark Alpha Splinter, so it should give Belattor a little bit of time to catch up. But we will get our Umos 1 item and our first hint of the day. It looks like a dark ammo tank on Umos 1, so not brilliant, but it'll help later once we get Dark Beam. And we see that the Spider Ball is in Dark Aegon, which, certainly a good number of locations that could put it. It could be actually virtually anywhere in Dark Aegon now that I think about it, except in Junction Site, because that is locked by Spider Ball. Yeah, typically in these tournament seeds, the game tends to give Spider Ball pretty early because that is one of the 3 keys needed to access the Sank Spider Side elevator, which leads to what we like to call the Spider's Treasure. That would be Light Beam in Transport B access, so they're going to need to come back for that with bombs or Space Jump. Yeah, going back on the Spider Ball for a split second here, since Spider Ball, Power Bombs, and Bombs, and Light Beam, which we've now seen, are the only things needed to get to Sank Spider Side from Aegon, there is a lot to, there's a lot of potential to get Spider Ball early for progression in that neck of the Spider's Treasure. Unfortunately, Dyceron not getting any missile drops for the temple, so needs to break a box here, but it does give him an energy tank, which will definitely be great going into Aegon, especially looking for that Spider Ball. We're also going to get our first Key Bear hint of the afternoon, finding out what the item in a Cursed Lake is. And you guys are seeing that there on the, oh! That's fascinating. A Cursed Lake has a beam. If I had to hazard a guess, that is probably Annihilator. Unless Seeker Missiles just, in fact, it has to be Annihilator because you need Dark Beam for Dark World access. Unless it's Dark Beam and Annihilator is your Dark World access. That was a hint for Central Mining Station, I believe. Major upgrade. So that could be a lot of good things. Oh, Mining Station access, excuse me. Oh, and Dark Zero makes a good point. You also need Light Beam to enter the portal. To open the crystal switch. So, you need Light Beam, and then either Dark or Annihilator could work, actually. So yeah, this is interesting. Very, should be interesting to see what's in that beam. And I also completely missed this, but the main power bomb was in the Aegon elevator. But yeah, we're about to see, with power bombs in tow, we can now get this major upgrade here in Mining Station access. And a nice early Space Jump boots. Those are some things you really want to see for your early Aegon dive. It opens up labs, it makes getting around Jump Guardian's neck of the woods a little bit more comfortable. And it is also, as THK points out, access to our Light Beam. Although I think by logic you are expected to use more fall bombs, but those are going to probably show up within the next 3 minutes or so. I didn't get a good look at what was in Mining Plaza. unfortunately. We're going to get portal access A check from Dyceron, which will give us our Amber Translator, so it is right back to Sandcash with him, I bet. Chat's saying probably Energy Tank, alright. Not too bad, that means it might, that's half dead Amorbus. And Sandcash does not have any progression today, just a dark ammo tank. Didn't get the best look at Mining Station A's item, unfortunately, and we see that Morph Ball bombs are vanilla, as they typically are in these tournament races. Oh, Mining Station A was a mini tank. Okay, thank you, chat. So yeah, Mining Plaza is going to be a bit of a question mark until our runners give us a bit of a better look here. But with power bombs in tow, this fight will be relatively quick for DCR. Now, ideally, what he wants to do is hang back, let Bomb Guardian charge him, and then lay the power bomb. This works too, or he can just walk up to and lay the power bomb as well. I discovered somewhat unintentionally that Screw Attack also works on this. Oh, a Dark Temple Key can be found in bioenergy production. Interesting. Belattor electing to play for the hints before going back for Sandcash. Playing for the hints can actually be really good in Echo's Randomizer, because the hints, for the most part, are fairly solid. We get a second energy tank in the Aegon Energy Controller, and the hint stating that another red temple key is in, or a red temple key, could be dark. Dark keys could be Aegon, red or sky, but a red temple key is in Command Center. So that's two keys, one of which is a bit of a question mark that we already know where they're hiding. And it looks like Belattor is going to, or at least try to, sequence break the Mining Station A item. Yes, Sandcash is just a dark ammo tank, so it is thankfully not essential to the run today. Or the race, I should say. But with the two energy tanks we now have, that does put the Spider's Treasure neck of the woods, Hazing Cliff in particular, into logic. Yeah, without Dark Beam, this fight can be a tad bit slow, but Missile still helps. Does get a power bomb refill there. Now, without Dark Beam, we will not yet be able to check Storage B. And we already know this item here is a red key. And it is, in fact, our first Dark Aegon key, so a lot of you folks in chat have been saying maybe Spider Ball and Amorbus, and that is a very distinct possibility given the circumstances. We can get to bioenergy production courtesy of Morph Ball Bombs and Space Jump, so we will be able to get that Dark Temple key as well. Dyceron taking advantage of the fact that if it looks like you can stand on it, you can stand on it when it comes to GameCube Prime collision. Now, let's see where Belattor decides to go next, because it looks like we may be seeing some route divergence here following the following the collection of Morph Ball bombs. It looks like he might be going back for Light Beam. If not, checking the item in Transport Access. Ah, he's checking the hint in Mining Plaza, which talks about Light Beam. Thanks, game. We also get another better look at Mining Station, or Mining Plaza, I should say. Still didn't get the best look, unfortunately, due to the restream. And chat thinks that also should be an E-Tank as well. Okay, then. So we're still going to bank on... We're still not going to say that's required for now. And indeed, Belattor has chosen to warp to the ship and will, he's going to probably do the Dark Missile Trooper playing. This makes sense, considering that we don't know exactly where in Dark Aegon Spider Ball is, so being able to route south Dark Aegon without Dark Beam isn't exactly brilliant, and it is another red temple key in bioenergy production. It is a second Aegon key. So, 16 minutes in, and whoa, Dark Missile Trooper packing the big guns as it is carrying the super missiles. That's actually some really good news for Belattor, because if he chooses to do the South Dark Aegon route early, he will be able to integrate in Warrior's Walk. Quite a good choice. Good choice for Belattor there, because yeah, super missiles, not only does that allow the Warrior's Walk, but super missiles in general are pretty much their most powerful armament, since that does 180 damage, and right now, they have no beams. But it is just a missile tank in Hive Chamber B. Dyceron, in the meantime, going to continue on this waltz through labs. Now, this does actually present a very interesting scenario. It could end up being that Dark Beam is in Warrior's Walk, which is somewhat unlikely. It's a non-zero possibility, I'm going to say, because there are still a lot of places where Dark Beam could still end up, including Vanilla. Taking full advantage of the Yeet Beams to get around this room. The reason I call them that is because they pretty much yeet you across the top of the room. Ooh, and with power bombs in tow, Belattor is going to also make a quick pit stop to Dynamo Chamber. And I wouldn't be surprised if he actually takes this all the way to GFMC to check Grand Wind Chamber. But we have a Dark Samus 1 fight here. This should be relatively quick, depending on how well the power bomb goes, and I would say that is pretty good. Oh, Belattor finding the other Dark Aegon key in communications area. That puts a Morbus in play already. And we do not have a vanilla Dark Beam. And there is a Sky Temple key in Ing Reliquary. For one of the very few times of this tournament, Reliquary is required. And the big deal with Reliquary is that it either requires you basically performing the early newborn of Prime 2 or having Light Suit. Not to mention, we also need Dark Visor. So that is now 2 Sky Temple keys we know about, out of the 9 we will need. And a couple of laughs in chat to Asder mentioning that Reliquary is reliquired. So I do not take credit for that. That is Asder's pun. And Belattor deciding to make the trip for Light Beam. I'm actually kind of You know what's funny? With Light Beam and Amber Translator, he can open up, and Super Missiles for that matter, he can actually open the way back to the ship via the Temple Transport Amber neck of the woods, and Dyceron has actually just warped back to start after BSJing out of labs. By the way, we should probably mention that DCR was logically soft-locked in labs after Dark Samus 1, but did a bomb space jump to squeeze out of there and avoid having to reset. So he's now saved back to the ship, just picked up Super Missiles off a Dark Missile Trooper, and will now most likely make the same checks that Belattor has done. And Belattor, in the meanwhile, is going to be dipping back into Aegon with Light Beam and Supers already in tow for the labs and Dark Aegon play. We'll see which one he chooses first. He already knows, I think, about both of the keys in the lab's neighborhood. Nice scan dash from Belattor to climb up Mining Plaza nice and quickly. That's one I'm going to have to remember. Kirby Master, we have a hint that Spider Ball is in Dark Aegon. We don't know necessarily where, but we have now already, within less than 20 minutes, seen all 3 Aegon keys. Although, Chad does bring up a good point. With Light Beam, Morph Ball Bombs, and Power Bombs, Hall of Combat Mastery is not in logic, but we can visit that neck of the Spider's treasure. We can get to Hazing Cliff. And DCR picking up Light Beam. Bellator has opened up the door to Labs, but it looks like he's going to make the play to Dark Aegon instead. This is a very interesting play because, but it does make sense in Bellator's case because with Light Beam in tow, he's actually going to be able to push this all the way over to Doomed Entry, assuming he does not accidentally take out the Ingworm pods in front of the Battleground doorways. Meanwhile, these are Dark Pirates, but they're also dead, so... Now, a little fun fact about this Morph Ball puzzle here for the Aegon portal, for those who have not seen this before. Turns out, you only need to destroy the 3rd sand switch, and there's a nice, easy, relatively easy slope jump you can do against that pillar to get right to the 3rd pillar, 3rd sand blocker. And I finally got another decent look at Temple Assembly Site, and Temple Assembly Site is in fact a missile. Alright, we're getting at a crossroads peak here. We need Boost Ball and Dark Beam, or conventional Dark World access for this item, and it looked like it was missiles. So Bellator has decided to go straight to Judgment Pit to, looks like he's actually going straight to Trial Tunnel before dealing with Jump Guardian. And Dyceron's gonna facepalm at this Light Beam hint real quick. But DCR now has all 3 of the Amorbis keys, so if he chooses, he could go fight Amorbis right now on this Dark Aegon trip. Trial Tunnel in the meantime having yet more Dark Beam ammo. So we have now seen more Dark Beam ammo in general than we now currently have for Light Beam. Because I'm pretty sure that's the 3rd Dark Expansion tank we've seen this race. But yeah, it looks like Belattor is going to start by shooting 29 to 30-ish light beam shots at this random spot on the wall in front of the statue. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of this is. Something to have to do with the boss, and that is a lot of power bombs on DCR's screen. That's what happens when multiple enemies die in the same frame under the Echo's drop system, because it only checks... because the loot drop system checks every separate frame, but if one frame has a lot of KOs, it's probably going to drop the same thing twice. But Belattor, yeah, it turns out Jump Guardian's hitbox, basically Jump Guardian's wearing Harry Potter's invisibility cloak, and there is the Spider Ball on Jump Guardian. That is going to be a big, possibly a big break for Belattor, but that is a cheeseburger there in, Junction Site, excuse me. So DCR actually is heading to Dark Aegon as well. He's actually gonna be probably pretty relieved to see that Spider Ball, knowing that it will not be on Amorbis. Furthermore, with Light Beam in tow, this will also provide an alternative way out of labs for Belattor. Unfortunately, no sign of Dark Beam yet, and it's just a light ammo tank in Warrior's Walk. And it is Sunburst in the battleground. Belattor electing to not fight the Ink for it. Kind of makes sense. That fight can still take about a minute or so, even with Light Beam. But yeah, with Light Beam in tow, Belattor is going to take this all the way over to Doomed Entry. I'm not sure if this is technically in logic with that space jump, but that is a translator, I believe, up top in Doomed Entry. I believe that was Cobalt. Let's take another quick look at that. It is indeed Cobalt. So Cobalt is nice, because when we do eventually dip into Sank Spider Side, which once again is now in logic courtesy of Light Beam, Spider Ball, not Spider Ball, Light Beam, Power Bombs, and Morph Ball Bombs, you will now be able to check Cobalt hints. So this provides quite a significant intelligence advantage here for Belattor. Oh, chat's bringing up a horrifying possibility that it could still be Dark Beam on Amorbis. Or possibly, here's an even bigger kicker, Dark Visor on Amorbis with Seekers lying around somewhere else, and Dark Beam in a Cursed Lake. And DCR electing to pick up the extra cheeseburger because he's probably a little hungry. I would be too, believe it or not. I do enjoy my cheeseburgers. I will not lie. Now, this is going to be interesting. We're going to see if Dyceron actually goes to fight Amorbis right now. He has Light Beam, which will, for the most part, trivialize, and Super Missiles, for that matter, which will, for the most part, trivialize this Amorbis fight. So, let's see what they decide to do here. He's turning in the keys. We're going to see a nice early 29.5-minute Amorbis fight, ladies and gentlemen. So So as mentioned before, with super missiles, this, oh, that's Dark Burst in transport access, not the dark item Belattor was looking for. So we've got 2 burst weapons already. We've got both bursts. No Sonic Boom, but we do have super missiles. So we're only missing Sonic Boom, and then we've got pretty much full missiles. And Seekers, of course. But yeah, going back on the Morbus for a bit, with super missiles especially, this fight is fairly trivial because the Morbus drops a ton of ammunition. Looks like he's trying to squeeze in some charged light shots, which are the most effective on a Morbus because of its faster fire rate and travel speed. However, at this point he's out of light ammo, so he will have to resort to... I'm surprised he didn't resort to super missiles there and allowed Wormgrave to begin. Not quite sure what Dyceron just wrote there. But yeah, Dyceron not using his super missiles. To answer a question, chat, Jump Guardian can be damaged by super missiles, but I do not believe he takes any special damage to super missiles. Supers do 180 damage, which is the equivalent of 6 missile shots. And I think DCR just realized he had supers, and is firing them away. Belattor will go ahead for the central mining station check here. Let's go see what this is. We didn't get the best look at it during the pirate fight earlier. Looks like DCR managed to stop Wormgrave on phase 3. Doesn't look like there's anything special in the central mining station item, but the ink cache there contains expansion, so no reason to go all the way back with Dark Visor for that item. Oh, it is Boost Ball on a Morbus, ladies and gentlemen. So, assuming Boost Ball is needed for a Sky Temple key, which there's about a 90%-ish chance that there is, a Morbus was required. Unfortunately, DCR does not have Dark Beam, so he can't damage the or freeze the crystal to get an extra platform to jump out. So he's attempting a bomb space jump here, having a bit of trouble with it, but does manage to get out. But yeah, that's a pretty big break for DCR, especially considering even if Boost Ball is not required, it is still a go fast item. So now with Boost Ball in tow, Dyceron's going to be able to is going to have to walk back rather to sand processing. Now, DCR's got to watch the shot, because he only has one super missile. There he goes. So yeah, with Boost Ball in tow, it gives us sand processing, and it also now gives us logical access to Storage C. Now that we have, since we have super missiles and Spider Ball already. So, Storage C could have progression, too. With Super Missiles in tow, though, and Amber Translator, we now do have a logical path to Actually, we only have a path to Torvis Grove, or Torvis Lagoon, rather. That's it. We can't get past the front door without Dark Beam. And And now DCR making the way into Doomed Entry, going to pick up that Cobalt Translator most likely. Ooh, trying to stand on the ink pot and perform a scan dash here. Nice improvisation. Not the best health drop, though. But yeah, this will end DCR's run of Dark Aegon here, since no Dark Beam. Yeah, we can't check in Cache 1 until we get Dark Beam, yeah. So, that's still off the table. Yeah, Dark Beam is locking out a lot of stuff here, and there's a lot of trolly places where it could be hiding. One of which Belattor is going to give us a look at, most likely in a second, with Storage C, because it is possible to get there via Scan Dash. We do know that Storage C is in Logic here at home, but Belattor doesn't know that because he hasn't fought a Morbus. DCR playing a little bit of Daredevil here, trying to manipulate the drop system for a gold drop. Didn't quite happen. Digglewrath, Boost Ball is on a Morbus. Meanwhile, we got a hint that Spider Ball was in Dark Aegon, but Spider Ball was on Jump Guardian. So, besides Dark Samus 1, all bosses have had progression up to this point. And yes, +1 on Morbus. I'll make a note of that real quick. Thank you for reminding me. That is Bellator's third Dark Aegon key. And yep, this is the scan dash to Storage C. Fairly trivial for the most part. And Seeker Missiles in Storage C. Boost Ball logically required. That isn't a Morbus. +1 a Morbus for sure, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the next million-dollar question is Bellator going to take the chance to fight a Morbus anyway, or go straight to, Wow, there's a lot of different ways where this could go. For Bellator, because Bellator might end up, after Dark Samus 1, just leaving and going to Spider's Treasure with Light Beam and Spider Ball. Now, we are just a Dark Visor away from getting the beam that was hinted at in Accursed Lake. Which, again, there is a 50-50 chance that is our Dark Beam right now. Dyceron electing to take a quick pit stop here to pick up the item in Ventilation Area A, which is a Dark Ammo tank again. Once again, we are teased with Dark Ammunition, but no beam for it. And Dark Oasis luckily contains an expansion for our runners, so they won't be, I don't know what DCR saw here in Main Reactor, but he's going for it. I think. Oh no, he has to go this way because he can't drop the crystal switch. Never mind. Oopsie. Alright, Bellator taking down Dark Samus, and is going to get the very bad news that this is technically a soft lock. Meanwhile, our sand processing check reveals to us today 5 missiles. So, everybody in chat panicked for a split second there because Dyceron did not go back to immediately for bioenergy production, which makes a lot of sense considering that that's Seekers. But yeah, with Boost Ball in tow, he now knows this is in logic, so he's probably just going to pick this up real quick after dealing with a few Metroids along the way, most likely. Nothing power bombs can't solve, really. With Boost Ball and Seekers... Boost Ball and Seekers can give us logical access to Torvis via the temple side. Because we do have super missiles to bust open the door to the bottom of the temple. And I'm sure DCR is just gonna get further. DCR is just gonna be probably gonna be relieved to know that Amorphous was in fact required, and by doing that early, probably saved himself a ton of trouble. Belattor, meanwhile, is in Vent Area A, picking up this, or at least looking at this Dark Ammo tank. We'll see if he carries this over to Spider's Treasure, because with Cobalt Translator, he may decide to go make a play for hints and see how that plays out. And it would appear that is what he's doing. DCR, meanwhile, is backtracking once again through sand processing. This might also be a play to Spider's Treasure. There is a lot that can be done here in Sanctuary, in the Spider's Treasure, I should stress specifically, because actually there really isn't much else we can do in Sank without Dark Beam. We actually can't get past Dynamo Works without Dark Beam. And our first item in Spider's Treasure is 5 missiles. And we see that a suit that doesn't belong on Aether can be found in Under Transit 1. So a non-expansion item is in Under Transit 1. Very interesting. Under Transit 1 in Dark Lower Torvis. Hive Dynamo Works contains an energy tank. And it looks like Belattor is going to get a quick power bomb refill here, but is not going to check the Dynamo Works tunnel. Getting a hazing cliff check now from Dyceron, and it is another 5 missiles. I did not see what was in Culling Chamber. And it is another energy tank, which DCR is going to pick up, which makes sense considering we are still suitless with no intel on a suit. Not a bad idea. In fact, logically, Light Suit is required today since we do have a Sky Temple key in Reliquary. But yeah, a surprisingly barren Spider's Treasure given the circumstances. It color me impressed, or color me shocked for sure, considering that. Again, usually, considering how early we've had access to this place, very surprising there's no progression. At this point, however, we are actually really starting to run out of checks here. We can go check, we can check the item on top of the GFS tier with power bombs. We can go check the hint in front of the Sank entrance. We can check Sank entrance, for that matter, since we have both ball upgrades and power bombs. Yeah, Torvis Lagoon we need gravity boost for, unless our runners feel like doing air underwater, and assuming they find screw attack sometime before that. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the only items in Logic and Torvus right now are pretty much Great Bridge. Yeah, Great Bridge is the only item in Torvus they can get right now with their current equipment. No Emerald Translator to get through the back, and, well, technically, and without Dart Beam, they can't lower the force field in the Torvus Temple unless they want to do out-of-bounds shenanigans. So yeah, this is a really, unfortunately, there is really, like, no good, dense location these runners can check right now. They either need to go all the way back to the GFMC ship, or they need to go to Sank Entrance. And looks like DCR is going to save, and then he looks like he's actually headed to Torvus. Meanwhile, Belattor returning to the Aegon elevator. We'll see where he decides to go next. Question check, can it be on Seekers? Yes. Hall of Honor Dead is in Logic with our current equipment. We have Boost Ball, we've got Seeker Missiles. We can very easily get out. We could also, not logically, but we can get to also shoutouts to Seeker Missiles being the best upgrade in the Prime series. Case in point. Yeah, that took 11 missiles. Actually 12, and just enough for a super to get out here. Looks like Belattor is choosing to stay in Aegon for now. See where he goes from here. Gets that 10 missile drop. And that would be... I'm sorry, was that Screw Attack question mark in Path of Roots? Indeed it is. So, remember when we said the item in Torvus Lagoon is non-logic unless you feel like doing air underwater with Screw Attack? We might actually see that now. But that is a Screw Attack logically locked by Grapple Beam. And it looks like DCR is not going to bother going for it. He's just going to go straight to... he's actually going to bomb Space Jump here to the top of Great Bridge and get the item in here out of sequence. Now, if you're wondering where that THK is actually... okay, Defiletron is an expansion. That is Emerald Translator, locked by either Grapple Beam, effectively, since Screw is locked by Grapple, in Abandoned Warp Site. So, seems like our next big logical chain missing chain item is Grapple Beam. Oh, in fact, I'm pretty sure that's Grapple Beam right there. Or was that an energy tank? In Hall of Honor Dead. I'm gonna check the playback on that one. It was Grapple Beam. So, Bellator doesn't know this, but that was probably a very big mistake. Oh, meanwhile, Seekers are in Storage C. Thanks, game. But yeah, DCR is committing hard to this this Torvus skip. What he's doing now is another bomb space jump to get over the to get onto some standable collision here in the Forgotten Bridge to be able to access the back of Torvus without Emerald. Well, actually, he could technically go back here now in Logic since he has Emerald Translator. And Bellator getting another hint about the Grapple Beam, which, oh boy. Let's just say the interview is going to get very interesting, especially when Belattor sees that screw attack. Now, the reason most like to skip Grapple Beam is because after Screw Attack, Grapple Beam is only selectively useful for speeding up a couple of swings. That's about it, though. Not really sure what that is in Grand Wind Chamber. It's certainly not big enough to be a suit, that's for sure. But it looks like Belattor is electing to dash across Wind Chamber here to go check the item on the ship. Yeah, it looks like Belattor is trying for like an extended dash. This is something that was discovered somewhat recently, I think. Where basically you kind of bounce off the ground into a jump. You get floaty, I think is the term folks use. Admittedly, I'm not familiar with this particular trick, so I'm gonna let the chat explain that one. Alright, Dyceron, meanwhile, did finally make it over to the Torvus Plaza, so we're gonna get a couple of checks here. So, with that Grapple Beam now known, since we know where it is, so that does put the Screw Attack, by extension the Emerald Translator, into Logic. So, with this, these checks here that DCR is doing are in fact in Logic as well now that we know. And what do you know, the Commando Pirates decide to show up, and Dyceron does not have a lot of Light Beam ammo to play with, and no Power Bombs. So he's gonna just elect to see if he can get around these Commando Pirates constantly pestering him. Ooh, saved that one, but decided to not try again. So it looks like he's just gonna skip Plaza for now. Either that or he got a good look at the item and isn't getting it. I can't see what it is, unfortunately. Yeah, he's noping straight out of Plaza, so let's see if this hint maybe tells Belattor that Screw Attack is Amorbus is guarding the boost ball. Oh boy, that's a big hint for Belattor. So that's gonna probably tell him go right back and go grab that. And that is literally on the other corner of the world right now, that hint. So that's gonna be a long walk to get back to Amorbus. Just missiles in Portal Chamber. Sky Temple key is in Poison Bog, so Light Suit doubly required. And that is Echo Visor in Torvus Lagoon, locked by Gravity Boost. We're not necessarily sure if Echo Visor is required yet today. But it looks like Dyceron is not attempting the air underwater to go... well, he doesn't have Screw Attack, so never mind. With our current equipment, we actually can very reliably go check Sky Temple hints as well. Actually, no, we can't. We don't have Dark World access. I take that back. A really important item, however, can be found at Transmission Ends. Yeah, Dyceron does not know about Grapple Beam right now, but if he chooses to go back to Temple Grounds and go around the Path of Eyes route, he will get those hints, or decides to just outright check the item itself. But it looks like he's going to go check the Grove and look at Meditation Vista. The transmission ends hint is not a new joke hint for 1.2. I don't think any new joke hint texts were added. A movement system can be found in Sanctuary Fortress. That would definitely be referring to our gravity boost. So Echo Visor is locked by a dip of Sanctuary. Fascinating. If you'll forgive my inner Spock there. Chat pointing out could be in Sank entrance? Yep, could be. I did not see what that was in Meditation Vista. So remember when I said at the start of the match that most of the seeds so far have been jet seeds in the brackets? Yeah, you can pretty much throw that out the window for this seed. Since we have a Morbus required, a really awkward Grapple Beam logic chain for Screw Attack and Emerald Translator, and still no Dark Beam. I've seen Dark Beam be go mode, to be fair. I had a weekly last month where Dark Beam was my go mode, and it was in Reactor Core, I want to say. And that's, oof. Question chat, could Dart Beam be Annihilator locked? Yes. Dart Beam can be Annihilator locked. If we find it without breaking the Boost Ball Secret Missile Grapple Beam logic. And it looks like DCR has elected to go through Path of Eyes the back doorway, and this is actually good news for him, because that's going to tell him about Grapple Beam. Never mind, he's going to go to Wind Chamber Gate first, so that's going to put off the hint for a wee bit. Belattor, meanwhile, has turned around and gone straight to a Morbus. And with 50 light ammo for the most part, and with still super missiles in tow, this will be a relatively still easy fight, I should say. Not so much easy check. And that is going to be DCR's Grapple Beam hint. He's probably debating right now whether or not to go get that. And it looks like he's just dropping what he's doing and going straight for it. I'm not gonna lie. Having supers and seekers, but not a way to check Sky Temple hints is bothering me. This is not something, admittedly, I'm used to seeing. And then there's the Seekers hint again. Thanks, game. So yeah, Belattor is going to pick up Boost Ball, and we'll see where he decides to go with this. If he decides to go turn around and go to Sank entrance, or if he chooses to return to Torvis for that grapple, return to Hall of Honor Dead for that grapple beam, or go to Torvis and realize he probably should have gotten that grapple beam. Also, once again, shout out to Secret Missiles being the best upgrade in the Prime series. And Belattor getting the frame-perfect accidental pause there, and picks up the almost 1 hour in a Morbus locked Boost Ball. And Belattor is not, I guess he's not sure about the BSJ to get out, so he's going to reload the room, or probably take the Aegon energy, actually, in order to get the pillar to rise up. Alright, so DCR is ship warped, it looks like, and is, or not ship warped, he's walked back to the ship, I should say. And looks like he's going to go to GFMC, it looks like, with power bombs in tow. However, with Emerald Translator in tow, and despite not having Dark Visor, DCR is going to go and grab the Sky Temple key in Transport A access real quick. This is a one-way check right now, since he's going to have to walk back out the other way. Since again, no Dark Visor to check the no Dark Visor to get to GFMC from there. But yeah, Dyceron's gonna have to walk all the way back around to get to GFMC from here, because he can't lower the it's another bridge name. I know this because I had an elevator rando seat pointing me there once. But that room's bridge needs Dark Visor plus Seekers. Sacred Bridge, that's the one. Yep, now he's got to walk around the long way. Belattor, meanwhile, is going to Torbis. This is gonna be the bad news he did not want to hear. A little low on missiles, actually. He can't miss this shot, otherwise he won't have the supers necessary to get out. Case in point. And the item on the ship, I looked away for a split second, but it did not look important enough for DCR to pick it up. It is missiles. Let's see where DCR decides to go now, and there's the boost ball hint. He is not going to Sank entrance. Looks like he is going to check Wind Chamber first. Unfortunately, Belattor needed some extra missiles because Seekers became Seekers were Seekers again, and he needed one more missile to punch through this. Yeah, as Chad points out, we're now over an hour into the seed, and we only have one extra beam. We know where one is. We've known since pretty much the start of the game, but we still don't know how to get to it right now, since we're still missing Dark Visor. And cue the bad news. Although it doesn't look like Belattor was shooken up too much by it, just running with it for now. Now, if you're wondering why Bellator's missile just flew off to the left there, it's because he fired it at a cloaked Screamer plant, which does deflect your missiles. And Belattor going to see that Echo Visor. But let's see where DCR decides to go next. It looks like he's going to head back towards the temple. Meanwhile, with Grapple Beam in tow for DCR, that is going to be a nice, easy screw attack for him. Now, let's see if he goes back to pick up Echo Visor. It doesn't look like he's going to go back for Echo Visor with air underwater. So, yeah, Belattor just realized, I think, what's happened, and he's going right back for Grapple Beam. And, indeed, DCR... Oh, he had to walk around because he had no Dark Beam. So that makes sense. So what DCR here is doing the air underwater trick by morphing like so. Right as you touch the water, you enter a state where you are able to screw attack underwater. But you are still affected by water gravity. But with this, DCR is able to get Echo Visor without going to Sanctuary somewhere for that gravity boost. To answer question in chat, we can get to Sank entrance and check the item there. We just can't get further into Sanctuary without... Oh, by the way, there's a random Spider Ball track there. Yeah, that Portal Chamber is weird. Portal Chamber is a weird room. Not only is there a very easy gap in the collision to get out of bounds, but there's also just a random unloaded no graphic Spider Ball track. But yeah, with Screw Attack in tow, Dyceron is heading back in the direction of Meditation Vista. This might be a play to Dark Torvus Arena to check Boost Guardian and do the upper Dark Torvus checks, which can pretty much be full clear with the exception of the Sky Temple key in Poison Bog. And this must have been something important in Meditation Vista. Indeed, it was our Dark Visor, locked by Screw Attack, locked by Grapple Beam. And with that in tow, Dyceron can now finally get the item in the beam that it has been hinted at in a Cursed Lake for about an hour now. Now, the next $1 million question is this Dark Beam or is this Annihilator Beam? Because if it's Annihilator Beam, that generates more questions than it answers. Yeah, Kirby Master, you pretty much hit the nail on the head for the logic chain so far. Oh, actually, chat just brought up a really good point. We still can't get to a Cursed Lake. We still can't actually activate Dark Portals. Never mind. However, with Dark Visor in play, they can now... what they could do is... they could check Phazon Grounds. No, they can't. Again, no Dark Portals. To answer question chat, the Battleground in cache does not have any progression. It's just an expansion. Bellator checked the hint earlier when he checked Central Mining Station. Yeah, DCR is immediately going back to check Keybearer hints to see if there's anything important down there. Beam ammo tank in Central Mining Station. I didn't get the best look at that earlier. And Bellator sees the Emerald Translator. That's next on his to pick up list, no doubt. it looks like DCR's next stop is Sand Canyon. Being sure to get all of the... Oh, never mind. Oh, he just remembered. And what is this here in Sand Canyon? Just a missile tank. Oh, don't worry, ZKX. You may have missed the first hour, but it's gonna be a long seed. Trust us. Yeah, Kirby Master way ahead of me. Yeah. Alright, meanwhile, Dyceron's next stop is... Oh, by the way, one thing? That boost ball was on a Morbus. Actually, no, he said Aegon keys, so yeah, that pretty much means a Morbus. I take that back. And yeah, Screw Attack and Path of Roots locked by Grapple Beam. That was the big one, because Belattor initially saw Grapple Beam in Hall of Honor dead and decided to not pick it up, because he had, at the time, Belattor had not been to Torvis, so he didn't know Screw Attack was chilling in Path of Roots. But looks like DCR is going to... Actually, I have no idea what he's going to do right now. Looks like he's heading back towards... He's heading in the direction of Torvis. How many Dark Ammo expansions have we encountered before Dark Beam? At least 4. And for the tournament settings, that equates to 100 Dark Beam ammo. That is Dark Visor now for Belattor, so... with that in tow, let's see where our runners decide to take this. Because at this point... Despite all the back and forth, they're now pretty much on even footing with the exception of Belattor not getting Echo Visor with air underwater. They are both in pretty much the exact same circumstance, as it turns out. To answer your question, chat, we cannot... Yeah. We cannot check Sky Temple key hints because we are still missing Dark World access. And it's okay. It's bothering me just as much. Because the more concerning thing is, we only have knowledge of a grand total of 3 Sky Temple keys right now before checking hints. The other 2 hints we know about are both Light Suit locked in Ing Reliquary and Poison Bog. To answer question, chat, neither runner has checked Sank entrance, but that is about to change, as it appears that is where Dyceron is going, and with his current equipment, he can pretty much... Well, no, he can't full clear Sank. Dark Beam kind of makes a meal out of this. Because he cannot get further past... he can basically go through Transit Station, check Transit Station and Main Research. For 2 items there. Cannot go up Cat West from the front side. He can't get to the back side because that requires Dark Beam in some form or another. Because in Light World, there's a Dark Beam door right after Dynamo, at the end of Dino Boards. In Dark Hive, you can't even get up Cat East without Dark Beam. Dark Cat East. I would wager the next progression upgrade is going to be a beam upgrade. Because with that, there's another thing, we're still looking for suits. If this ends up being gravity boost, that's going to put... no, actually, we still technically can't get to Lower Torvus yet without Dark Beam. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that might have actually been Annihilator just now. Because DCR opened up the right side crystal barrier. Cobalt Translator is in Dark Aegon. You mean the thing that we actually kind of needed to read that hint? Thanks, game! Oh? For whatever reason, DCR is not going back for the... Oh, he's out of power bombs. I think? Question mark? Okay, maybe it wasn't Annihilator in Sank Entrance. And he actually, I just remembered, he did launch the power bomb, so I take it back. I guess it wasn't Annihilator. It might have been an energy tank or a light tank. Light tank, gives off the similar, very distinctive upward-facing glow. We're gonna get another look from Belattor, most likely. Ooh, nice screw attack to get up the, Oh, no. Dark Beam in Reactor Core, ladies and gentlemen. If any of you are having nightmare flashbacks to that weekly about 5 weeks ago... Well, at the very least, this does allow Dyceron to know exactly where Annihilator is. Missiles in transit station? Oh, maybe it was something a little more important. Never mind. And yeah, if that Dark Beam gauge is anything to go by, we've seen a lot of Dark Ammunition. And Umos 2 is dead. We have not had a Quadraxis or Chica hint yet this seed, and we should be, with all the Cobalt hints we now know have access to, we should be able to finally get those within due time. Oh, chat is enlightening us that Sank Entrance was Sonic Boom, which makes sense to why we would confuse it for Annihilator Beam. Thank you, Vigilant Chat. Vigilance class chat, good one, Astor. I think Belattor needed a spare power bomb there to be able to do Sank Entrance. So, looks like DCR's next stop is... it's gonna be going up Dark Cat West, because with Echo Visor in tow, we can now check Hive Entrance. Not Hive Entrance, excuse me, Hive Gyro Chamber. Hive Entrance, we need Light Suit. Oh, interestingly, DCR had a bit of an elevator hiccup there. Apparently, the pickups can cause the elevator to hiccup there in Cat West and Cat East. Or, sorry, Cat West doesn't have an elevator. Just has a lot of cannonball, killer, kinetic orb cannons. Alright, Belattor is not doing the full Sank Entrance puzzle, it looks like. And yeah, I would also like to point out, an hour and 20 in, we are still currently, while we have finally just gotten our second beam and can now get our third, we are still suitless at this time. I take it back, we are no longer suitless. commentator's blessing, I guess? In DCR's case, probably. Actually, Kirby Master makes a very, very good point. That now means Gravity Booster is required because this suit is locked by Echo Visor, which was in Torvus Lagoon. Kirby Master, I really hope you keep that logic chain in your notepad, because I'm gonna need that for this interview. Alright, we're gonna get a look at the Dynamo Works tunnel now, hopefully, from DCR. I'm gonna laugh if this is Gravity Boost. Nope, it was an energy tank. And Belattor is walking right past Dark Beam. He's gonna go pick that up. There's a lot of different ways to not do the puzzle in this room. One way you can, DCR showing the Dark Burst into bomb slot strats. I don't think we've actually seen that this tournament. So yeah, fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, bomb slots can be activated by super missile combos, specifically the ones that stay on the screen a really long time. So I'm pretty sure Dyceron is now just reminding the audience that we now have a ton of Dark Beam ammo, and he's not afraid to use it. Oh. Belattor was stopping for a minute there. And it looks like DCR's next port of call is to immediately go back and check Sky Temple hints before doing anything else. This is not a bad idea, considering this may tell us if we are in, if we can just now go for all the keys, or, well, we still need Light Suit either way. Because it is hard required for the Poison Bog key. But yeah, this is also, as THK points out, this will be a good chance to check if we do, in fact, need Annihilator Beam. Which I bet is going to influence DCR's next move here. If Annihilator Beam is required, he's probably going to go straight for it. Although, while the keys may not hint for it, Gravity Boost may be Annihilator Beam locked, which could be the break in the... which could be the, another bit of a kink in the logic chain. Because Gravity Boost could be in Sentinel's Path or Main Gyro Chamber. I'm sorry, no, it can't be in either of those two, because those are Echo locked. So never mind. Now, DCR only has returned one key, and we know of two others. The remaining 6 unknown keys are as follows. Plane of Dark Worship, that's actually free now. Profane Path, we do need Annihilator Beam. Ing Reliquary, we know. Dark Torvus Arena, so 50-50 boost, Guardian. Poison Bog, we know. Sacrificial Chamber, Grapple Guardian, that's relatively trivial. Although, with not much Light Beam ammo... And the last one, Hydro Chamber Storage. Alpha Blog is required. Oh wait, this is the last one. Dynamo Works! +1 Spider Guardian, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna just tack that on then now. So, we are in fact required to get Annihilator Beam for a key in Profane Path, and we do need Gravity Boost because Hydro Chamber Storage has a Sky Temple key. By logic, you need Gravity Boost to get out, I think. You could technically get out via Under Temple. So now the next $1 million question is, where's Gravity Boost? Because it's not on Spider Guardian. It's probably chilling in Watch Station or Cat West somewhere. And a heads-up play by DCR here. He saved at Sanctuary, but did not save the ship. So, in doing this, he has allowed him to. This allows him to continue his Sanctuary trek without, with the knowledge of those Sky Temple key hints. And that is a Dark Visor hint. Thanks, game. I'm pretty sure the elevator just bonked on DCR's head. If that elevator did not have a program to go back up onto that, that would have been extremely painful and probably given Samus the biggest headache of her life, among other things. So it looks like DCR's first, looks like he's doing a little back and forth here, but it looks like he's going to go to finish slowing the dynamo down first, or the gyro rather. Interestingly, because DCR warped out or save scummed his Sky Temple key hints, that meant he put off Annihilator Beam. That's a red temple key, luckily to something pretty useless at this point. As we can easily get to Quadraxis via the aerial training site, now that we know how to get Annihilator Beam. Dark Zero, please do not remind me of that weekly race. Because we've already got enough weekly race flashbacks with that Dark Beam in Reactor Core. Thank you very much. Oh, never mind. So Light Suit was in... Oh, and Quad's dead too. So actually this puts DCR in Gravity... Technically he doesn't really need Gravity Boost. But this does kind of put DCR in Gun mode pretty much. Because he could get the Hydro Chamber storage key without Gravity Boost. He is going to have to go out via the Under Temple. What was in Under Transit 1 there? It could have been a red key. In fact, it has to be a red key at this point. Because the Jokins can point to any non-expansion item, which could include red temple keys, because they are unique. But yeah, at this point, Dyceron knows where Annihilator Beam is hanging out, so it is just a matter of time for him. Yes, Light Suit was in Sank Energy Controller. And Belattor is actually running a little low on HP here. I'm not sure he's going to be able to check this last hint in time, which is the Dynamo Works hint of all things. Not unless he absolutely nails this scan frame perfect. I'm not even sure this is possible. Nope. DCR tried to be fancy and intercept Spider Guardian in that little crevice, for Phase 3, but didn't quite get it, and he fell off the ledge. So he's got to get back up. There's a little open spot up there where you can cheese, getting a couple free bombs on Spider Guardian without entering his danger zone. Ooh, paused a little early. So Bellator is actually going to get the first suit, coming up here in the Sank Energy Controller, which is actually hilarious because the other suit is pretty much right around the corner in the Dark World equivalent. Unfortunately, Belattor does need Echo Visor to pick that up, so not likely we're going to be seeing that. For quite some time. Until Belattor finds Gravity Boost. Shoutouts to Cannonball, one of the most broken mechanics in Prime 2. Absolutely annihilating that quad. And for some reason can deal quad damage to Resbits after already dealing 500,000 damage per frame. Yep, that is DCR's second Sky Temple key of the day. Let's see how he chooses to route the rest of these keys. As far as Sank is concerned, I think he's actually done. I'm trying to think. There aren't any... Yeah, there's no keys. There's no more Sky Temple keys in Sank. So yeah, he's actually done here. So we'll see where his next stop is. He does have to go back for Annihilator Beam eventually. As Kirby Mesa states, yeah, I don't think there's any in Aegon either at this point. In fact, no, they're all in Sky Temple grounds or Lower Torvus, pretty much. And Dark Torvus Arena, which is Upper Torvus, so... interestingly, Gravity Boost could be... It might not be Annihilator locked. It can't be Annihilator locked anyway because Echo Visor is in the Lagoon. And Sentinel's Path also needs Echo Visor. Let's see where DCR decides to go right now. Looks like he's heading towards... let's see what he's doing right now. I don't think he's going to Mining Station B. No, he's not going to Mining Station B. It wouldn't make any sense to do that. It looks like he's trying to get to Torvus right now. I think he's going to go get the Dark Torvus Arena keys first. And Spider Guardian being a little uncooperative here with Belattor in Phase 2 here. Yeah, it couldn't have been Sank Map Station because Sank Map Station is locked by Light Suit, which is already locked by Echo Visor, so... Alright, Belattor on Spider Guardian Phase 3 now, zipping right by it. And I don't think Belattor... I don't know if Belattor went back for the other Sky Temple key hint, but he's fighting Spider Guardian anyway, I just realized. This is the one key hint I don't think he picked up. It's actually good that chat mentions that because that... it didn't occur to me at first that he was just literally chancing this. He's thinking this is probably Gravity Boost. But he might be equally surprised when it turns out this is a Sky Temple key. And considering how early that Cobalt Translator was available, considering it was only locked by... Actually, I take that back. Technically, Cobalt was locked by that huge, humongous, obnoxious chain for Dark Beam. So this is actually really far down in the logic for a Sky Temple key. But yeah, looks like DCR's first stop now is... He's gonna go get the Poison Bog key first, and then go mosey on over to Boost Guardian. With if the luck is on his side, he won't have to fight the boss itself. DCR liking to pick up an extra cheeseburger out of cache. I can understand that. Extra power bombs are a good thing. Yeah, Belattor are probably really happy to see that Sky Temple key, knowing that that's the one he missed out on. Yeah, at this point, DCR is pretty much just cleaning up the remaining keys, which thankfully aren't actually too bad, all things considering. Because in Lower Torvus, the only keys, in Torvus, the only two keys he has left are Boost Guardian and Alpha Blog. Oh yeah, he's gonna go out of bounds. He's done this before. What this is yeah, in Cache B, as it turns out, there is an out of bounds. Cache B is the elevator to go down to Lower Torvus in the Light World, but the room is still connected, just like it is in the Light World. So this is not like its own room. Or not. Yeah, Esther, we don't have gravity boost. It might actually show up right here in, it might show up here in Watch Station, though. Yeah, I don't know what DCR is doing right now. Why he's making all these extra checks. Because all that's been netting him is a ton of red keys for the most part, and a cheeseburger. Oh, there's gravity boost. So it was locked by screw attack, basically. Because yeah, you could get to you can get to this neck of Watch Station by using screw attack. So for Belattor, this now gives him the blueprints for go mode. Because now, for the audience at home, what we know he has to do is go back to Torvus for Echo, grab the light suit, grab Annihilator Beam somewhere along the line. Also, DCR absolutely nailed Boost Guardian there with the power bomb, so I guess that means Boost Guardian has the key. Which he does, because the half-pipe had a missile. Let's see what this hint says. Emerald Translator. Thanks, game. Technically +1 boost, but I don't count Boost Guardian in my tally. He's easy with power bombs, let's be honest. So Belattor took a peek at Vault, found it was nothing, and decided to leave. I'm pretty sure Belattor does know about Echo Visor at this point, so I'm curious to wonder if he's going to go back for it now or wait till after checking Cat West. Having a little trouble getting over there, unfortunately. DCR does unfortunately have to kill the pirates here, otherwise the force field blocking Lower Torvus will not drop. So finally a light ammo tank in Cat West. I'm pretty sure that's the first light ammo tank our runners have picked up all day. In fact, I'm definitely sure that's the first light ammo tank our runners have picked up all day. And DCR is reloading the room here for another dark ammo tank. That's now, what, like 5 out of 8 in the item pool? Also, there's an Echo Visor hint. Thanks, game. I'm not really sure why DCR checked that hint. Maybe he's looking for the specific gravity boost location? Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask him about this in the interview, because he should know that he can skip needing gravity boost for Hydro Chamber storage just by... He might want it for Alpha Blog anyway, because Alpha Blog is still pretty tough, especially without gravity boost, and only 5 energy tanks. Because the thing about suits is that suits do not protect you against, enemy damage. It only protects you against Dark Aether damage. Not quite sure what Belattor is doing here. I think he's just trying to do a slope jump to not have to do the spider ball puzzle. Oh, DCR can do air underwater, okay. He did an underwater dash, though, to get to this Undertemple pylon, but is not opening it. We actually have both of our runners in Lower Torvus right now. Chica is guarding a missile tank. I already knew Chica was dead, but that just pretty much confirms it. The dungeon also has an expansion, although granted, there really can't be anything unique at this point, since we now know where all unique items are. Nice wall bounce there to get into the Dark Portal for the dungeon. Well, that's right, Grapple Guardian has a key. I forgot about that. So yeah, DCR is going to go do Grapple Guardian real quick. Only 50 light ammo, which is not brilliant, but it can be made to work. And that's another red temple key hint that Belattor really didn't need right now. Yeah, we're gonna look at Under Transit 1 here, and yeah, as we pretty much deduced by process of elimination, yeah, this was a red key. Both of our runners saw the Accursed Lake hint, so I'm pretty sure DCR is not looking for Annihilator Beam. But he is gonna go Bomb Space jump up to Grapple Guardian here. Although apparently he needs to reload the room to actually get Grapple Guardian to spawn. That I did not know. Yeah, luckily health won't be too much of an issue with, thanks to Light Suit. But yeah, this, DCR making very, very quick work of this Grapple Guardian, even without so much light ammo to work with. Ooh, Darkseer delivering a nice fun fact about, thanks to the Randomizer, fixes an issue where, if you leave the room after starting the Grapple Guardian fight, you'll never be able to get the item. That is another Sky Temple key for Dyceron. So, next port of call, most likely, is actually probably going to use the Under Temple portals here to get to Alpha Blog that way. The Under Temple access portal should be a nice quick access. He is going to have to stay in Under Temple, however, to go back to Under Temple to get out, though, because he has not opened up the path in the Light World. And, oh my goodness, another light ammo tank. DCR's first, in fact, of this match. DCR getting a quick refill off the ammo fish. But at this point, I would say that, for the most part, that pirate's levitating, by the way. I would say for the most part it is DCR's race to lose at this point. Just because he is in go mode, he knows where all the keys are, he's going to be able to deal with this fight without too much difficulty, I hope. Although, one other sort of side effect of not having gravity boost is that the water fog is still there too, because much like Gravity Suit Prime 1, it clears the fog. And he didn't get the air underwater either, so yeah, he's got to do this intentionally, and I do not remember the last time he saved. He needs to lay in 2 more super missiles and a dark beam shot, a charged dark beam shot. Unfortunately, Alpha Blog did not open his mouth in that attack, so the shot didn't count. That time he did, though. Alright, he's hanging in there. But it's just 1 more Dark Beam shot, or Super Missile, or Charged Dark Beam. So 1 good hit, and this will knock out Alpha Blog, and DCR is going to get a very lucky escape. And down he goes. DCR getting, definitely keeping everybody on their toes as far as that fight was. But yeah, he is, without Gravity Boost, gonna have to leave via the Under Temple, which means that his only way out is, unfortunately, through Powerbomb Guardian. Now, Powerbomb Guardian with Light Suit really isn't a big deal. I'm sure he would love an energy tank right now before the Powerbomb Guardian fight, and he gets it. So here, have your energy tank before your next optional boss. Very convenient. Belattor should have an easier time with this fight, the Alpha Blog fight, courtesy of that, A, the extra light ammo tank, which really actually doesn't make a difference for Alpha Blog, and more importantly, the gravity boost. But yeah, we got a bit of a lower Torvis, as chat says, a bit of a lower Torvis boss rush here. In DCR's case, at least, Belattor will be able to skip, the Powerbomb Guardian fight. I think after this, Bellator is probably going to go back. Well, I actually can't go back for Echo Visor right now because the force field in the Torvis Temple is still up. So Bellator is going to have to pretty much save warp out of here, go grab Annihilator Beam, and then go from there. Most likely. Looks like Bellator might actually be doing the BSJ to get out. The BSJ gravity jump. Well, I say gravity jump, but that's a Super Metroid trick. You get the idea. This Alpha Blog is being extremely mean. Nevertheless, Bellator gets the BSJ, and he's out of there. So that's a good like 5 or 6 minutes he's gonna save on DCR at this point. Just not having to do Powerbomb Guardian or Alpha Block. So I think DCR is going to take the dungeon portal now to get back out. Is this the only race today? Yes, this is the last race in round 2 of the losers bracket. The winner of this race will go on to face Kirby Master. Or actually, one moment. Correction, this is round 1 of the losers bracket. Round 2, whoever wins this race will go on to face Kirby Master in round 2. As far as the winner, as far as the winners bracket is concerned, we are on the semifinals coming up, actually, which is going to be the race between Jagger G and Bash Prime. We do not have dates for those races at this time, but we will let you know, we will update the SpeedGaming schedule accordingly when that shows up. And given the races and execution we've seen from all of our runners this tournament, these last few races we're coming up on should be nothing short of spectacular, especially today's race, which has been bit of an awkward logic chain, but certainly excellent execution from both of our runners here. Oh, Belattor is deciding to fight Powerbomb Guardian anyway, since he does not know Light Suit is locked by Echo Visor.
Recording to logbook.
And again, not sure why DCR is checking the hints here, because at this point he is in go mode. The last 3 keys in his neck of the woods are all Path, Reliquary, and I'm missing one and I can't remember where it is. Plan of Dark Worship. Thank you, chat. So all 3 remaining Sky Temple keys are in Sky Temple grounds. But none of them are in that one corner that's near Sky Temple. Alright, so Belattor is save warped to the ship. Let's see where he goes next. He needs to go back for Echo Visor, and he needs to go get Annihilator Beam some point along the way. So does DCR, for that matter, has to go get Annihilator. I'm not sure what he's thinking right now. I'm not sure what he's doing. He took a little time to get back up to the top of the save room, but now he's going to save warp. So yeah, I think his next stop is to immediately go grab that Annihilator Beam and get the Plane of Dark Worship key, which are both very conveniently placed, actually. Yeah, he's going to check the rest of his hints, which you are now going to see. Because of version 1.2 of the randomizer, they are now sorted. Unfortunately, I think this is actually throwing DCR off a little bit. He actually, now that I think about it, he actually he didn't save his Sky Temple key hints, so it's actually going to be a little awkward. But yeah, I think he was just trying to check which in-cache had his Annihilator Beam. Makes sense. But yeah, the non-Sky Temple Corner Temple Grounds, the non-Sky Temple Corner Sky Temple Grounds checks, each having 2 valuable items. There's 2 keys on the Sky Temple Sank side, and 2 keys on the Sky Temple Aegon side. Or a key and a required Annihilator, I should say, on the Sky Temple Aegon side, excuse me. But nothing but Sky Temple on the Sky Temple entrance side. So yeah, DCR demonstrating a tiny bit of frustration in the IRC. Nothing crazy, just a bit of a mild disappointed face expression, I guess. And Bellator's response, like you say, which, to be fair, is a very accurate description of the seed. No, it was this simple. But yeah, Kirby Master, if you could you please paste, if you still have it, the ridiculous logic chain that our runners had to go through this afternoon just to get to, let alone Dark Beam, but more importantly, the rest of the seed and Light Suit. Uh-oh. Oh, never mind. Sorry, the screen was black for like several seconds, and I thought Bellator's game might have frozen a little, but it was having a hiccup skipping the cutscene, I guess. Oh. Dark Zero got the, Oh, you both got it. Thanks to both of you. Also, we should actually probably do this, because I actually haven't done this whole race, and, that's mildly rude of me. If you have not already, once again, please give both of our runners a follow, because they have put on a fantastic show for you this afternoon. Not to mention putting up with this pretty troll Dark Beam seed, for one thing. And I also want to take a minute to shout out Gollop, who's been our tracker this afternoon, who has done a pretty fantastic job throughout the majority of this tournament. Pressing all the buttons, making sure everybody knows who has what. And that is Dyceron's 9th Sky Temple key, so it is off to Sky Temple for him. Yes, Chad points out, ladies and gentlemen, this tournament is not over yet. As we have mentioned before, the winner of today's race will go on to face Kirby Mesta in round 2 of the losers bracket. The third round of the losers bracket will be determined by both that race and the race between Gollop and Op82, date to be determined. And the let's see. And the finals will be between whoever wins the race between Jagger G and Bash Prime and the winners of the losers bracket, or the winner of the losers bracket. Gotta get the S's in the right place, right? You know. Alright, Belattor fighting Boost Guardian. Must have not gotten a cooperative power bomb, unfortunately. He's gonna try for another one. And gets it the second try. That's Sky Temple Key number 5 for Belattor. Belattor is still looking for that light suit, but has not received a hint for it. So Belattor has no idea light suit is in Hive Gyro yet. Who is ahead at this point? At this point, DCR is significantly further ahead. It is DCR's race to lose at this point. In fact, in DCR's case, this siege should be over in a little less than 10 minutes. And yeah, Kirby Master brings up a good point. Really, the defining moment was when DCR picked up Light Suit, and for that matter, Sequence broke Echo Visor. That was a big help as well. I'm trying to remember if he Sequence broke Echo Visor before or after. No, he had to get it before Light Suit because yeah, it had to be before he got Echo Visor before Light Suit, I think. Another thing that also gave DCR a bit of a boost. Also, this might be a nice. Oh, he missed the. So unfortunately, this is going to be a 2-cycle Emperor Ring. Belattor did get Boost Ball 30 minutes later, but the thing is, by the time they were both going through Sank, with the exception, or they were both going to like Meditation Vista to get Dark Visor, they were actually pretty even with the exception of the Echo Visor. One thing the seat has been devoid on, as Chad's been bringing up, is light ammo. I think we've only seen 2 light ammo tanks over the course of the seed. Meanwhile, we've seen like 5 or 6 dark tanks. 5 or 6 dark tanks, excuse me. So DCR waiting for Emperor to do the lasers and then going to use the screw attack method, which we have seen throughout the entirety of this tournament. Because as it turns out, Emperor in development had vulnerable points on his heels. So it turns out he had multiple Achilles heels that were vulnerable to screw attack, but they never removed those by final version. And you could just do that, and down he goes. that is that the Achilles heel trick for Emperor 3 is patched on other versions. So right now, Dark Samus 3 is on the bare minimum of the health need to not go into DS4 by accident. That was an incredibly good screw attack by DCR to put keep Dark Samus 3's health down nice and early. Is trying to avoid centering her. That did a lot more damage. It's actually only going to take a couple more screw attack frames, and this is going to be game over. Does get centered, but at this point it's just a matter of getting one shot, in which Dark Samus 4 gives the shot on the first try, and that is going to be GG for DCR, finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 2:06:02. And with that, Belattor has also forfeited from the race. So GG's to both of our racers. What a show, ladies and gentlemen. What a seed. And we are joined up in the booth by Dyceron. Dyceron, GG to you.
Okay. Where do I begin?
Why don't we start with you deciding to go straight to a Morbus after getting that third Aegon key?
That was actually accidental. I kind of forgot I got all the keys, and I was like, you know what, I'll just do this. And luckily, it paid off because I didn't see the hint until the end. Boost ball being there. Also, boost ball was there. Like, I feel like I've had that before, earlier on in this tournament.
Yeah, a Morbus has been required, and actually, I'm now keeping tally of the bracket matches we've had 3 times now. So
Yeah.
he's shown up. So why don't we talk about for a second that chain for Dark Beam?
I'm surprised it was that late. I was like, where is Dark Beam? I was getting so confused. And I was like kind of thinking, I don't know, after a while I was like, maybe it's Sanctuary Entrance because I had access with boosts and stuff. I was like, nah.
We thought it was Annihilator Beam for a second when we saw your first glance, but turns out it was Sonic Boom, I guess.
Yes. I definitely haven't seen Dark Beam where it was before.
It's actually funny you say that because we had a weekly race about 4 or 5 weeks ago where it was there, and that's where we started main energy controller.
Trying to
But
think.
yeah, the Kirby Master took the liberty of writing down as we were going through the logic for the seed. So it was Aegon keys to Boost Ball, and super missiles on Dark Missile Trooper, and then Spider Ball was on Jump Guardian. Yeah. Seekers in Storage C, locked by Boost and Spider. To Grapple in Hall of Honor dead. To Screw Attack in Path of Roots, so Grapple Lock Screw Attack today. To Dark Visor in Meditation Vista. To Dark Beam in Reactor Core. And then Gravity Boost. Gravity Boost was in Watch Station, by the way. If you're wondering where that was.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. But I didn't need it. I didn't need it. Well, I guess it could have helped, but
yeah, I think it could have helped you on Alpha Block, but that was about it, really.
the only like extra step I took was Powerbomb Guardian, but it wasn't a long fight, so it's fine. I had to go that way to get back to the light world.
So we noticed, actually, let's talk about that for a second. So towards the tail end, as you were going through Upper Dark Torvus for Boost Guard, and you were making a lot of extra checks to like both the caches. So what was the story behind that one?
Mostly because I'm annoyed with myself, because once again, an early hint I forget about, and it was the hint about Annihilator. Because I remember, it took me, that's why I paused, and I was like, wait a minute. I remember seeing a hint on Cursed Lake, and I was like, When I saw it was Beam, I was so annoyed. I was like, I had that hint, and I remembered it said that, and then I completely forgot. So I was panicking, and I was like, where's Annihilator? So I just started checking everything on the way.
So did you get thrown off briefly by the new updated hint text for 1.2?
I don't think so. I didn't even notice the difference.
Yeah, because the hints in 1.2 now describe them by translator color and by actual location of the hint now.
Oh.
Low quality of life change for 1.2. But yeah, so actually, you doing air underwater for Echo Visor ended up saving you a lot of time too, because Belattor actually never did get to Hive Gyro for what would have ended up being his light suit.
It's one of the rare times that I feel like I ever check Hive Gyro. It's a pretty uncommon check, I think.
Yeah, so it's funny because Hive Gyro was at the end of the logic chain after Dark Beam, because after Dark Beam, it gets you to Gravity Boost in Watch Station, so you can logically get Echo in Torvus Lagoon, which gives you your access to Hive Gyro for that last suit.
Also, when I got Light Suit, I completely thought that I was in Go mode. I just totally forgot about Profane Path needing Annihilator. I was like, oh, I'm done.
I think that was the only required Annihilator check in the seed.
Yeah.
We were honestly dreaming up even worse case scenarios where Dark Beam could have been in that Accursed Lake in cache. Which it very could well have been if Annihilator Beam showed up first.
The only like, real, I think, error I made, well, not really error, but took a while on, was that gate skip thing in Torvus. I couldn't do it, and then it was just for missiles anyway, so I was like, I wasted my time. Then I started thinking that Dark Beam was an underground tunnel, but that wasn't there. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a seed.
Yeah, actually, one thing that happened to Belattor is that while he was checking his Sky Temple key hints, he unfortunately couldn't check the last one because he ran out of HP because he was still on Various Suit at the time. Luckily, he immediately gambled Spider Guardian after, which just so happened to be the key hint that he didn't scan.
Yeah, when I was doing the hints, I reset and I was like, wait a minute, I'm missing a hint because I forgot to write down Hydro Chamber storage. But luckily, I didn't forget a hint because that's the worst. It's like forget to scan one hint. Yeah, this sea was all over the place, I feel like.
Yeah, it really didn't explode until after you got. It was really linear up until pretty much you got Dark Beam.
Yeah, I think at that point then it got better, but never expect Dark Beam to be there. I was fully expecting it to be in Sanctuary entrance.
We thought it was gonna be Annihilator in Sank entrance and Dark Beam on the in cache. Because we saw that hint and we started drawing up questions immediately. It's like, wow, since when is a beam in Accursed Lake? And it's not locked by much. It's only locked by Dark World Access, Secret Missiles, and Dark Visor.
And when I was getting the Hive Gyro key, I was like, small temptation to go fight Quad, but I was like, I should probably wait. Not smart.
Well, Quad was dead. It was just a missile hint. So how did you feel about the Sank entrance hint telling you about Cobalt Translator?
Oh, I was mad. Like, that doesn't help me.
It's like, gee, thanks, game. We only needed that to read it.
That's worse than the thanks games where like it tells you an item you already have. Like, that's even worse.
Yeah. So another thing is, you two actually pretty much sort of met up as you were going through Torvus, with the exception of you having Echo Visor. After Dark Visor, you two were pretty much both neck and neck. At one point, Belattor actually ended up getting Super Missiles a lot earlier, and Spider Ball for that matter, since he immediately after doing first half of Aegon decided to hold off on labs for a bit and go to Dark Missile Trooper. So
yeah,
he ended up getting Super Missiles early and did Warrior's Walk and got Cobalt a little earlier.
I think my routing after bombs was kind of sloppy. I went to different areas and I really didn't get anywhere. But, it worked out, I guess.
Honestly, I thought for a second that you were going to do the out of bounds and cash beat to drop all the way down to Under Temple.
I was thinking about that, but I was like, I forgot to get Dark Torvus Arena. I don't know how I forgot. It's like, it's right there. I think it's the second time I've done that where I just ignored it. I was like, oh wait, I have to go back. And Spider Guardian required again. Yay.
Yeah, I wrote that one down too. So now that's his 5th appearance in the brackets now. So yeah, and that considering how late Cobalt technically was in the chain, because Cobalt was technically locked behind Dark Beam, because you're not expected to go up those ink pods to go through the top floor.
Oh.
Or wait a second. I'm derping well, Dark Beam is still technically required to get to the top floor anyway, because you need to lower the platform. That slope jump up the dead body still not in logic. In No Tricks. So yeah, Dark Beam was locking Cobalt Translator, which was locking Spider Guardian, so... But yeah, that was a pretty late logic chain for that Sky Temple key in particular.
Yeah, it was a seed. For sure.
Anything else? Anything else? Either of you? Belattor has been joining us in chat, by the way, through the through this. And anything else either of you two want to say before we close this one out today?
Not really. Honestly, it was kind of weird to see Dark Beam so late. That's the only honest I.
Yeah, like I said, we had a weekly that did have it there, and I was given very terrible flashbacks. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, and Bellator's response is, I hate light suit, remove it. Which, to be fair, I know the feeling because I had a go mode light suit on Chica once too. Both on a weekly and in a multi-world practice the day after. On somebody else's Chica. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude round 2, or round 1, I should say, of the losers bracket. The next, we will be starting round 2 of the losers bracket with Kirby Master versus Dyceron, and Gollop versus Op82. And in the semifinals of the winners bracket, we've got Jagger G and Bash Prime. So plenty of good races down the pipe for you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, shout outs to our tracker Gollop, who has done an amazing job throughout this race and the good chunk of this tournament, making sure everybody presses the making sure he's been pressing the buttons, keeping everybody informed, is the right words. And also give a follow to our runners who have put on, again, just an amazing show for you both this afternoon and throughout the entirety of this these last couple of months for the Metroid Prime 2 Echoes 2020 Randomizer Tournament. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good rest of your day, and we will see you next mission.